everybody, welcome back to NOTIERS, Frontiers, Diaries.
What?
I've been watching too much Revzilla. But,
you said it. Wow,
yeah.
Great. So in our last episode, we were having the time of our life in Baja California. And in this episode, we finally make our way down to the very bottom. Along the way, we stop by the city of La Paz. The name means peace.
Peace. It was not peaceful.
No, we did not have a peaceful time there. I mean, basically,
well, we've been
it's
doing
our own fault.
Yeah, we did a lot of off-roading, and my fork started to leak just a little bit on the left side, and I'm still getting to be mechanically inclined, at least on like a basic level, and so I Googled how to stop it, and there's a lot of tutorials that show you how you can like cut little S's into like milk cartons and clean around it and such. But I was being a little prissy at the time just because I wanted it to be done and I didn't want to have to worry about it. And there was supposedly a KTM dealership or a motorcycle shop somewhere down the main drag, but it was a Saturday evening. The sun was going down, and
it was about to close. At least that's what Google said.
Well, that's what Google said, and it was Saturday, so Sunday they would be closed, and then we didn't want to wait until Monday, and so I'm kind of running around in a little hurried panic, and I'm like, I need Marisa to go with me because I can't speak Spanish, so she's my translator. Right. Not that she knows how to say my gasket on my front fork is leaking.
But at least I can say something,
she can,
right?
Yeah.
And we were gearing up, but very quickly. We didn't want to put on everything.
Yeah.
And you asked me if we should wear our helmets.
Well, I put my helmet on, and she didn't. And because, I like to communicate. And I said, well, don't we need to wear our helmets? She said, I'm not sure. I don't think so. We're only going a couple blocks.
So many people not wear their helmets here in Mexico. I don't think it's required. I mean, this is just so dumb of me.
And then I followed like a lemming, and I was like, oh yeah, well then I won't wear my helmet either.
And in Illinois, it's not required. So we were used to just, you can go down the block.
But just as a bonus tip to just everybody out there, and just because the law says you don't have to be intelligent doesn't necessarily mean that's like a right, And again, there's other people out there who really enjoy going out without their helmets. So there's no right or wrong, but for me, I am always definitely a safety first, and now I always ride with my helmet on, and I love it because I get to listen to music, and I'm in my own little movie.
Yes, and
it
stops all the bugs from going in your eyes and all these things. This is true,
and it's much safer.
It is much safer.
And I took my tank bag off to kind of strip my motorcycle down so that whatever mechanic could, look at stuff, and that's where I keep like my fake wallet and my international driver's license and a little bit of cash and all this stuff, so if something shady happens.
We've been warned about bribes. We've been warned about having police stop us in Mexico and other countries, and to always have like a fake wallet on hand with a little bit of cash instead of like all your money.
And bonus, we had just stopped at an ATM because we needed cash to pay for the hotel, so I just reloaded up with pesos upon pesos upon pesos. And then at the accumulation of all these factors lining together, we get on the motorcycle and head down to this motorcycle dealer that Google is like, yeah, it's up here. And we're looking back and forth. Now the sun has set. We're going up and down this boulevard. I'm going super insanely slow because I am on the lookout for a particular building.
Yeah.
We can't find it. It's not where Google says it was. I pull a Yui, and we're going back to our hotel. My heart's a little sank just because now I have to try to figure out the problem on my own. And we're on our way back, and of course, whoop, whoop.
You get pulled over, of
Big
course.
lights. And I'm like, whatever. So I pull over onto the side. They separated Marissa and I so they could speak to us.
They were very clever, and they had done this before. And
they spoke very good English.
Yes.
I was talking to Charlie, and Charlie will never see this, but screw you, Charlie. And he was, oh, we got a big problem here, buddy. We got, there's, I think he said there's like 3 or 4 offenses. He said, well, first off,
they caught us red-handed on one of them for sure.
Did. Well, and I don't even know what the bylaws and laws were of actual helmet usage because nobody was wearing a helmet up and down.
But you know what? It doesn't matter what the local people do, and it doesn't matter what you see other people do in a place. Like, you as a foreigner or as an outsider should always stick to whatever rules you think could be there.
Indeed. And so he said, well, first off, you're not wearing a helmet, so that's a ticket. Mm-hmm. Second of all, you were speeding, so that's a ticket. Third of all, your passenger wasn't wearing a helmet, so that's a ticket. And I said, all right, the helmet thing, all right, you got me on, and what is the fine for that? But the speeding issue, like, I was going 5 miles an hour, and the equivalent of that in kilometers an hour, 10 I was looking for a building. I was not speeding, but he was very adamant.
So I start crying, just bawling my eyes out, just because I knew that we had done something wrong, and that we had been caught, and that this was really, really bad, and I couldn't help myself.
Well, I mean, you weren't. Yeah, she is an emotional
And I was separated,
creature.
And they're like, "This is going to be really bad for you and your husband."
And that he said that we had already booked a ferry in La Paz to take us across to mainland, and he said, "Well, you're going to have a court date in 2 weeks that you're going to have to be there for, and this, that, and other thing.
You're going to miss your ferry. You're going to miss we had a hotel destination to go to that was actually booked beforehand, which we never do."
Yeah, but I was feeling this vibe in the air of like, I think he's kind of subliminally reaching out, saying, "Oh, there's all these problems, but we can probably resolve them beforehand." And so I was like, how much to make this go away right here, right now? Like, I'm from the States, you don't bribe cops. Like, that just doesn't work, and that'll get you in more trouble. But he said, "Oh, fix it right here, right now? Oh, yeah, you can give me X amount of pesos, right?" And I was still catching on to how much pesos were, and I didn't even know how much it was. But I break out my wallet to kind of like sneakily look, and of course we just went to the ATM, so it was like.
And he'd left his fake wallet at home. He left his giveaway ID at home and everything.
So he had my license. So in essence, I had to buy back my license, or else this man would walk away with my license. And he said, I don't know how many, it's been a while, so I forget what the value of pesos were, but as soon as I realized it was a bribe, I yelled over at Marissa and I said, "It's just a bribe. These guys, they're not going to, you can stop crying. All they want is money, and it sucks, and I'm pissed because I know now I'm being extorted." But again, I did break one of their laws, but now they're tacking on 12 more and trying to get, every last nickel that I just got out of an ATM out of me. And so I cut his bribe in half, thinking that's a good way to negotiate. And I said, "Well, I won't give you the 800 pesos. I'm just using round numbers here. I have no idea what it was. But I'll give you 400, And he's like, "I don't know. I really need 6." And I'm like, "I'll give you 4, and that's all." And he says, "Fine, give me 4." So I give him 4. They go away. I'm upset.
I'm still crying.
She's still crying.
I couldn't stop. We get back to the hotel, and I immediately did
Google the math, and we paid
I think it was
$300, which was stupid.
It was bad, and me. We were both totally at fault.
I mean, we should have worn a helmet.
Yeah.
B, we should have had all of our fake documentation.
All of our prepared
documentation
for this situation.
We broke we shouldn't have been riding at night. There's all these rules that we made for ourselves way back in Chicago before we left, and this was the first time we broke any of them, and we decided to break them all at once.
Of course.
And so after we Googled that it was $300, I knew we probably. And of course I had some kind of recollection of where that money was. I knew it was above $20 and I didn't know if it was below 500. You know, like that's how I wasn't ignorantly blissful of just like a millionaire. Like, how much it cost? I don't know. Here's all the money. But we probably could have gotten away with paying the guy $25.
Yeah. Probably.
And I hate bribing people because that means the next poor soul that he pulls over, he's going to say, well, the last idiot paid me, so maybe I can get some more money out of this guy.
It's a tough situation. This was definitely our first bribe and not our last bribe. It was our worst bribe because
I
made all
learned
these mistakes. Yes, that we learned from. But the other side of the coin is that he does not get paid enough to do a very dangerous job.
But that is not our responsibility. That's my issue.
That's true. But yeah, it's a very tricky situation what to do in that situation.
Yeah. And
whatever we did was wrong.
we did break the law as far as the helmet thing. And so there's no, woe is me, pity me all the way. There should be some kind of woe is me of $300 fine. That's not the case. But so that was a poopy night, to say the very least. The next morning, I Googled how to clean the debris out using the plastic milk carton trick, and I did it just fine.
Yeah, it worked great.
It's like, I should have why did I do this to myself? But
so then we headed to a place that we thought, this is going to be awesome.
It was awesome. We were my brother had gifted me a
very nice
a little package to stay somewhere nice
at a resort in Cabo San Lucas. Which is like a huge destination in Baja California, right at the tip. You know, it's got the ocean and beaches and resorts. And
it was a 7-day package. That was the only timeline we had to meet since leaving Chicago, and hence why we didn't want to wait 2 weeks for some weird court date and this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
But so that was at least a light at the end of the little depressing tunnel of $300, right? We were excited to be able to go somewhere to relax, and we've seen pictures where there's a pool.
Yeah.
We so pull excited. Up, and we are definitely not like the typical customers, the clientele there. There were a lot of young Americans that solely were there. They flew in. They planned on getting as drunk as they possibly could, and then flying home.
Going back to work.
And so we pulled in, and there's like a actual staff with like bellboys and stuff that, walk up and take your luggage and check you in officially and give you like a little a water to wait while you're being registered. So it was really, really fancy.
We felt like we were on vacation as opposed to just travelers.
Indeed. And when they showed us the room, it had its own refrigerator. There was air conditioning. There was a shower. There was a huge bed, fluffy pillows, a TV with cable. I was just like, whoa, this was fantastic.
Really nice.
And there was a pool outside that had one of those awesome, it was
a pool bar.
So there's little concrete seats you can sit on at the pool, immersed. And I was like, oh, that's going to be dangerous. That's going to be really, really, really dangerous.
Yes.
But, so we rested. We were a little bummed out from the peace officer, La Paz officer, but so we figured we would go down and swim in the pool, and we sat at the bar, and I was in a happy mood, so I ordered a Bloody Mary.
With just a Bloody Mary.
and the Bloody Mary, the bartender takes a Bloody Mary, puts in a little bit of vodka, and dumps it into, a whole bunch of tomato juice and celery and all this other delicious stuff.
And then $7.
Yeah, and the guy next to me orders a shot of vodka, which is a full shot, and it was like $4. And I was like, well, why did I just pay $7 for some tomato juice and half a shot. So give me a shot of vodka. And so I do a shot of vodka. And then the guy down with his girlfriend is like, you want to do a shot of tequila? And we're like,
yeah,
sure, why not? And then I don't remember anything. All I remember is that my credit card felt lighter when he gave it back to me after I paid for everything. It was a good night of rambling on like an idiot, but the good thing was I was rambling on like an idiot to another American rambling on like an idiot.
For me, it was not a good night. I do remember being an idiot. I mean, it just one tequila shot after the next. I became a complete and utter idiot. And then I got so drunk that I couldn't, I was just incapable of doing basic things like walking, and somehow we made it back up to the hotel room.
Yeah.
And
we don't drink that often, even in our, our lives back home. We'll have a...
But I was in vacation mode.
Yeah, we're in vacation.
We were in Mexico, and there was tequila flowing, and it was exciting. And I definitely overdid it by a lot. And the next day, obviously, we could barely do anything.
We didn't move until 3 p.m. the next afternoon.
Just to get food. In like sunglasses.
Yeah, Marisa was just in bed. I put on sunglasses and some clothes that I could manage to find and walked around in my zombie state and ordered some rice and chicken. It was my head just felt...
And that's when I started to realize that for me, it was worse than just a hangover, that I had a UTI, urinary tract infection, probably from sitting in the pool the whole time, or just who knows. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And I think it was the second or third day after that.
Pain, of her just in pain,
I tried everything, the cranberries, all that stuff, and eventually I was like, I have to go to the hospital because it was so painful. I didn't know if I was having appendicitis.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything, just like screaming. And
The last thing that I wanted to do was to go to some hospital in Baja, Mexico, and it wasn't me, and I was equally as afraid. And she wasn't going to go on the bike, and I still felt like crap. And this was 3 days after I drank too much. It was awful.
It was really bad.
But we go to the front desk, and I'm like, Red Cross, hospital, something, and they hail us a cab. I bring Marisa down, and I shuffle her into cab, and we go to this, we don't know where we're going, but we're assuming a hospital, and we pull up in front of this building that it looked like a bad vet. It just, I wouldn't bring a squirrel there to put down. It was just, and there was like this old Ghostbusters ambulance out front that I don't know if it represented like the current technology that they had on hand, but it was not. Yeah, we were like, no sir, was there yet another place with maybe sliding glass doors would be appreciated, not a rusty hinge.
I don't remember any of this. I was just too
Yeah.
unconscious to even register anything.
And he did end up, I Googled a little bit, and I found an actual hospital that had like some star reviews and looked a little bit more appropriate. It had like a helicopter landing pad somewhere in the back. And so we got driven there. Marisa and I went in to check in. I am not, at this point, she was not my wife. I was not her husband. We had two last names, and so
we were
separated.
Just engaged.
So they took Marisa in, and I was stuck outside, just chain smoking cigarettes over and over and over again, not knowing. I'd go in every half hour and be like, how's my wife? Donde está mi esposa?
English and...
Yeah. And she didn't have service on her phone. Only I did, because usually we're right next to each other, so only one of us needs to buy a SIM card. But finally,
they let you in.
They let me in to see her, and they needed to draw her blood.
Mm-hmm. They were doing tests. They couldn't figure out whether it was appendicitis or not. It turned out to be just a really, really terrible UTI that was spreading to my kidneys. Dehydrated
from drinking and all that. But they're drawing blood, and they don't have like needles. they have, like, they stab you and then collect it in a little vial. Like, that's their method.
Pour it in.
Yeah.
To the
And there was no nurse, and so the doctor could speak English, which was nice. But like,
Yeah.
I was the little nurse assistant.
They were like, here, hold this. Do that.
Yeah, like, here, give me another blood vial. Okay, hold her blood vial. And like, she's on this bed where it's just a nightmare. And Marisa
was not cleaned.
half conscious, so she didn't even see like most of this. But I'm just looking around, and I'm just like, there's dried blood everywhere, and I'm part of the process, which is fine. She's my fiance at the time.
To be fair, it ended up being very affordable.
It was very affordable.
And
less than a bribe for not wearing a helmet.
And thankfully, I did not have appendicitis. It was just that really bad UTI, and I was able to be hooked up to an IV with several rounds of antibiotics going through me, which was able to cure the infection after many hours.
But that's just the overall it was Day of the Dead.
It was the
that
Day
night
of the Dead,
was the
Dia
Day
de
of the
los
Dead.
Muertos, which in Mexico is a very fun holiday where people decorate little candy skulls, and they make little altars to the ancestors. And it's supposed to be a remembrance of those who have died, but also a celebration. And unfortunately,
It was not a celebration for us.
it was very ironic for us. Yeah, we weren't able to celebrate anything, and
It was the bad choices made in La Paz, and it's like we had a 7-day resort package of awesomeness, and we chose to spend all of the money that we got the resort package for free for on liquor, and then go ahead and spend the next 6 days recovering from just being an idiot. And so just any notation out there, and we were like 34, so we weren't like in our, we should have been more responsible. What is wrong with
should have been more responsible.
and you should have. You're the beeping light here.
One, right?
Yes.
But I have not had a drink.
She said,
that day.
I am not drinking anymore. And I've dated this girl since we were like 15. And I said, you've said that to me in your life at least 150 times. And I've said that to you probably 1,000 times. And we always find ourselves chugging back shots later. And
but I meant
to
it.
this day, I think for one of our anniversaries, either a birth, like she's had a glass of wine in 4 years.
But I doubt it. I don't think I've had anything.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't, which is good, because a lot of, like, our biggest travel expense was like mostly gas, because we were finding cheap accommodations. But there's a lot of people out there that when they travel, their biggest expense is alcohol consumption, and that is just. You want to make it to Mongolia, or do you want to make it to Turkey and be drunk the entire way? So
It's all a personal choice.
it's all I'm not saying don't drink. I'm not saying any of that. Definitely have a good time.
That was just my choice, and it happened to work out financially as well.
Yes, and I don't drink by myself, and so. But when I do run into people along the way, I'm like, oh, please have a beer with me, please, please. So I still indulge.
Yes.
But, so it was at the end of Baja was a little bit of a speed bump, a hurdle. But again, we projected and looked forward to what we may find in mainland Mexico. We still had a ferry crossing to do.
Definitely.
And so I think in the next video we'll start at us returning back to La Paz to take the ferry, wearing our helmets the entire time.
Yes, and going to Mexico, which is
Mexico.
not Baja California, but we call it mainland Mexico. It's not really mainland, but
Why
that
is
is
it
a
not
whole.
mainland?
Well, because Baja's not an island.
No, it's a peninsula.
It is a peninsula.
Connected.
We don't know what it's called, but it's just the other part of Mexico.
The major Mexico.
That is very different from Baja, and
100%.
a whole nother level of our travels.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up.
And hit the subscribe button below.
We'll see you next time, guys.
See you.
Peace.
Bye.